Now, before my very eyes, good evening to you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Blockstars meetup officially. This is lovely person in front of me. Deborah Kirchhoff, if I pronounce that correctly. Or Debbie, she is affectionately known, is a lawyer, a business person, and a Web3 enthusiast. Oh, girl. Deb has lived in over 6 countries and has a strong passion for travel, arts, cultures, and languages. Right now, Deb's been very busy with just a few tiny teams of the project, one of them being granted. That being said, they want to work with incredible companies looking to get funding by grants, incentives, and accelerators. You will be a handy girl tomorrow. And of course, the Chief Operating Officer with the incredible Web3 PUML team. That's the covering the move to earn space with a corporate twist. So personally, you're a traveler, you're a passionate girl, you have heaps of energy, you've learned lots of stuff on the journey so far, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. So I'm going to get out of the way. Please enjoy Deborah. Here she is.
Episode. I'm so used to doing podcasts. Today's presentation, I'm going to try to make it as cool as possible, as funny as possible. If you see a meme, maybe just laugh, just so I feel good about myself. But other than that, a little bit really about myself. I got started a long time ago as a lawyer. I was in corporate tax, boring. I did some criminal law, I helped some people stay out of jail. So that was pretty cool. And I kind of have been sort of in the startup space for a very long time. And it wasn't until I sort of met a bunch of different degens that I got into the Web3 space about 3 years ago. Unfortunately, not like some of you who out here and get into Bitcoin when it was like 3 cents. So I missed out on that boat, but Bitcoin. So that's sort of me. I'm the CEO of PUML, and I'll talk a little bit about PUML, and then we'll go into some learnings. And I think everyone here will get a lot of really learnings and takeaways from that as well. So what is PUML? If you haven't downloaded the app yet, what are you doing? You'll be leaving so much money on the table. Look at you guys over there, so healthy, probably missing out on dollars. So what we do is we incentivize healthy living with a Web3 twist. What does that mean? We actually reward people for being active, whether you're doing a meditation challenge or a step challenge, we'll give you some points that you can then use in our app. So that's sort of what it looks like. So you can do daily check-ins, you can use your PUML points on ebooks, NFTs, very soon. Digital offers, and so much more. So it's really, really cool. So that's sort of me, really. So far, our success has been pretty cool, and we've logged over 1.5 billion steps in the app. We launched in over 170 plus countries. We have 200,000 users, and for a Web3 little app, that's actually pretty damn impressive. And you'll learn more about some of the challenges that come along with that as well. So our biggest user base is Japan. Any Japanese people in here? Not bad. Then we're closely followed by the Aussies, Brazil, Singapore, and Turkey as well. So how do we make our money? That's always something that I get questions on a lot, because and a lot of Web3 startups are like this, and I'm going to be brutally honest. I think most Web3 startups have really core issues that makes them not sustainable in the long run. And it's so important that whatever you do, you need to have a tokenomic model or a revenue model that actually puts cash in your pocket and not just cash in other people's pockets. So, for us, that means corporate users. The way that we use that is we actually almost recycle it and resell it to companies that are looking to get their employees funding. So, an individual person, like you who does your steps, gets rewarded, gets gift cards, is actually supported by the money that we make from selling to corporates. And that's a huge, huge thing that you have to consider when you are having your own startup, your business, your Web3 tech, whatever lingo there is, you have to remember that this is a business, and if you don't have more money coming in than coming out, you're in big trouble. So, is familiar to anyone? No. So this is a very, very common thing in Web3. Obviously, when you have a token and you try to launch something, the first thing people are going to do is, if price doesn't go the way you planned, is they're going to go and like control your Telegram and your Discord, and they're going to go, I bought $10 and I don't have my Lamborghini. Okay, you should be investing. It's a risk, you know. And it's sometimes something that frustrates me so much because there's so many projects that just felt like they got this far of it because their price actually wasn't where it was supposed to be. So, anyone here actually launched a token? It's very great. There's one there. Anyone else? It's a super challenging process. And nowadays with ChatGPT, you can just launch your own token, which has seen incredible amounts of random tokens that have given the crypto space a really bad name. But when you take all the fun away, you can actually create really good communities if you actually just focus on building a good product and not actually just focusing on the token itself. It sounds crazy, I know, but the more you focus on the token and checking the price every day, especially if you're the project owner, it's just going to freak you out because you're just going to want to constantly pump money into it just to keep it alive. But that's not what sustainability is. So it's really important that you remember that sustainability is just so, so important no matter what project you are. See my little kid. Alright, let's go on to some learnings. So one of the biggest things is you gotta celebrate the little wins. I think in Web3, because we're in this terrible market condition, we need to make sure that we celebrate little wins as a team. For us, this was launching something called the daily plan. It seems so small. So what this actually provided the ability to do was for everyone to, at the end of the day, be able to claim an extra reward for those steps. And it just did wonders for our users, the way they felt about the app. It increased our daily active users as well, just made sure that the app was way more active than initially. And it was just crazy how like something so small could have such a big impact on the startup itself. It just allowed the community to grow and also to sort of be happier about using the app and felt like they could reach their goals quicker. And a big learning for me was that really, when it comes to your product, there are elements to it that might seem like a plus 10% or a plus 5%, but that will have a huge actual impact on what your users feel, your customers feel, and I think everyone actually has something in their business or in their daily lives that can probably do that. And it's about celebrating those little wins. So, please, Web3 may have some more mass adoption. This is something we hear all the time. It's so important and so overlooked. I think in Web3, this is sort of my own personal criticism, is that we love our technical words, and we love to make it seem like we're 10 times smarter than Web2 people. But actually, it's like when the iPhone first came out, really, and people were kind of looking at it and being like, I don't know how to use this. That doesn't mean they're necessarily dumb or like not advanced enough to understand the language. They just need the education to get there. But we hear that all the time. Web3 needs more education. Yeah, but how? And I think it's not so much about creating guides and ebooks generated by ChatGPT. It's more so building functionalities that just feel second nature to someone that does not know anything about Web3. So for us, we sort of came up with the idea, especially after crypto regulations in the US, where the US sort of acts on everything that has Web3 attached to it, but we wanted to sort of navigate the waters by creating almost like a solution that was a 2.5 version rather than a 3. So for us, that meant creating a dual token model. What does that mean? A dual token model really is where you have one token that is just a regular old token, the same thing that you would earn in like an Angry Birds game if you got a Birds app, sort of those sorts of coins. And then you have the crypto side of things as well, where you have that other alternative token. So for us, you earn PUML tokens by completing PUML challenges and attaining deeper steps, and then you can exchange that for PUMLX at regular intervals of a year. So that's how people can make money. At the moment, because our token price is not where we want to be, a lot more people are using it actually to exchange PUML tokens for Web2 products as well. So sort of like the ebooks, digital offers. Another thing we did, which is a huge accomplishment for our little tiny 2.5 app, is we actually created our own built-in wallet, our own cryptographic wallet. And this is kind of created overnight over 250,000 people in Web3. And that is insane, because when you think about how small the space is, just by creating this functionality, you were able to almost cheat the system and bring all of these Web2 users that just kind of did their steps and their meditations and turn them into full-blown crypto holders that even though their wallet's probably really empty, they now have a wallet that helps you learn to interact with via education. So when we talk about mass adoption at PUML, it's all about creating the means, the foundation, which is this wallet, building the functionality. So the daily plan will probably soon have a crypto element to that. Introducing NFTs, allowing them to drop things into their PUML wallet, and so forth. So what does that mean for you? If you have your own project, or you're thinking about creating a project, I would avoid using sort of but then, if you really have the flavor of the month, this month is probably AI. So you're going, I'm going to make an AI as a tool. But it's not about that. It's not about, oh, I'm going to make a Web3 tool. It's not about that. It's about the problem that you're solving and that being at the core of it. And I know you've heard this a million times before. I mean, raise your hand up if you've heard it. You have to focus on the problem. Come on. People are shy tonight. Come on. Raise them up. There you go. But what does that mean? What does that actually mean? And I think that is so frustrating because even at app like ours, we focus on the problem of getting people healthy. It's not about getting people to be in Web3. So we also have to remember that to not get distracted by these random little shiny things. The reason why we've integrated these things is because we are working towards a bigger goal, which is the Web3 insurance play. But sometimes you have to take little steps to conquer Everest. And it's the same for you guys. If you have a project, focus on your problem, focus on solving that, and then build the Web3 tech to support your long-term vision. And if it's not supporting your vision, I would say scrap it. Because you're probably just sprinkling in stuff to kiss some VC's ass. Am I right? Yeah, be careful. Alright, now let's talk about the bumps. Sometimes when you have a lot of success, you sort of hit shiny objects in the room. And it's happened to me personally, in my personal life as well. I'm just like, yeah, I can do it all. Yeah. And you say yes to everything. And then you realize you have time for nothing. And you're really, it's the same in business. It's the same in Web3, it's the same in our startup. And a few weeks ago, we came back from a variety of trips overseas, trying to pitch our project, and we're currently in the midst of a fundraise, because we're not trying to Web3 bear market. And a lot of projects are struggling. So it's important to get back down to the basics. So a few weeks ago, we had some difficult conversations within the team, because we all realized that we were doing too much. And when you only have a team of 6 capable people, and what I mean by capable is you might have a team of 10, or 20, or 30, but their capacity is so full already, you only really have the resources of maybe 4 or 10 people. You have to recognize that. Each of us only has a certain amount of time per day that we can allocate to specific tasks. If I'm, say, putting in 5 hours a week on blog writing, that's 5 hours a week that I can't put towards something else. So if I'm extrapolating that across the whole team, you have to remember that you have to recognize your resources and allocate them effectively to the services or products or the processes that are going to give you a much higher ROI than anything else. So what does that mean for us? So we learned a lot. That was so shit. This one says, when I invest $2,500 into crypto, I'm not a millionaire a week later. Always. But so our biggest learning for us in the bear market is like launching a token is so hard as it is. It's so hard. And after market makers, tokenomic models, investors, you put a lot on the line. And if the market conditions are not right, and you haven't spent the time to really grow a community, there is nothing you can do to save that price. That's a hard lesson learned, but it's something that we can take for the future. If you haven't launched a token yet, or you're thinking about it, this is something that I would just really stop for a second and just breathe. Listen to this advice. Grow your community before you launch a token. It sounds easy, it's not. And running a few giveaways and having a bunch of other accounts on your Twitter to make it look better than it is, not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And I don't know if you guys came with some hard truths, but later down the law, say yeehaw. Yeehaw! Exactly. So, what happened for us when we launched our token was we had about 3 seconds of a 10x. And what does that do? Unfortunately, people's orders went in at the top. We have exchanges, the network's busy, and everyone's like, I gotta get it on this price because everyone loves going at the token price at the bottom, right? We all want to do that. We all want that Bitcoin rally to sell at the top, and we want our Lambos and all that stuff. But the problem was that because of the network lags and all of these things happening at the same time, literally 2 minutes before we launched, there was an article that came out announcing Bitcoin was crashing and the Web3 community was dead and all this stuff. Everyone's freaking headless chickens running around. It was a huge lesson because those guys that unfortunately got in at the top, they become your loudest funders. They'll come into your Telegram and just go, this is shit. I'm out of here, they'll go and say, this project's a scam. But we've been around since 2021. They don't look at that. They look at that little tiny chart on CoinMarketCap or DEX tools or whatever, and they'll judge you based on what happens to that price on that token. So please, if you're gonna launch a token, maybe wait for the bull market. Or you can just launch anything and then it'll go to the moon, and then everyone in your community will be like, we love you. Your market a little bit different. But we have to remember though, there's a long term. I always say, when in doubt, zoom out. And what's the same for Bitcoin, let's go So he spent like $50,000 on stuff. But what happened was, if he had just believed in Bitcoin in that like tiny little segment, he would have missed all the history, all of that history. And if you are someone that is actually dedicated to creating value, you're solving problems in the market, who gives a shit what your token looks like right now, or next month, or next year? You should be looking at it over 5 to 10 year gap. You know, like that's really what you should be looking at. And you have to remind your investors. That's what it is. They're investors. They're not token holders. They're people that genuinely believe in your project. And if they're not, you need to remind them that that's what they are. Alright, launching NFTs. This was a biggie. So, as with every other project, we decided to launch NFTs. Who's launched an NFT? Nice. Like some daughter paintings or like proper PFPs? I can't see shit. Like some PFPs? Anyone have PFPs? Nice. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's hard. It's hard. It's really, really hard. Especially now. NFTs are dead. Well, that's what the media tells us, but who controls the media? I think we have to remember, again, these are value propositions, sometimes distractions, and unless you have utility, I would highly suggest you rethink your approach. The problem with us is that we had a really great idea, a really, really great idea. We wanted to sell these launches, so if you minted one, you could get a launch and they would have these random traits. One could give you more damage control for damage resistance, another one could give you more sort of rewards that you could get. Anyways, you could use the watch inside of our app to boost your rewards, get access to more utility, and so forth. Access parts of the app that nobody has access to. Good. The classic exclusive experiences, you know. But then what happened? We sold. We did not sell out. Unfortunately, again, we had a problem with our community. We didn't spend long enough developing the community at all. So then we had this mediocre community, passionate but very, very small. And it just didn't work out, you know? We tried the best we could. We tried marketing the shit out of it. We used KOLs, we used influencers. Everyone, every man and his dog we tried to sell reviews. But it still wasn't enough, and I think it was probably distorting writing stuff and whatever. There's so many reasons, you know. This guy's PFPs must have taken all the attention away. We like to find excuses, but for us, hindsight's 2020, timing completely off. The reason this project, in my opinion, was a failure, not because of the lack of community, but just how the timing of it was just really, really bad, because they did not have the utility that we promised, or was able to give the utility that we promised quick enough to keep the community engaged and in love with the brand. Because the branding was there, the utility was there in theory, and people could set roadmaps, 5 years out. We're going to make a video game, we're going to make an animation. But people want to use this stuff straight away. And I think this comes down to Web3 adoption too, where if you have an NFT, and you want to launch an NFT, I would say, try to come up with ways that you can deliver utility, like the moment that they buy it, they can use it. It doesn't matter what it's for, then people can find value in anything, but just have something, breadcrumbs. And then build extra revenue. Just a big difference. Sticking to your word, so freaking important, guys. We got in trouble because we said the NFTs were going to do X, Y, Z at this time. And we couldn't meet those deadlines. After developing the app and trying our best, we got distracted, we changed course. Oh shit, we have to do revenue stuff. Put attention over here, put attention over there. All of a sudden, you can't deliver on your word. And it just looks bad, it's terrible, and it looks really has kind of changed the course of business in the last month or two and led to some difficult conversations. But these are the reasons why I hope that by telling you guys this, you'll avoid this altogether. Transparency, a huge one. If shit is going bad, tell your community it's going bad and that you have a plan. Don't just tell them that everything's fine. It's like, these fellas probably will know. When you're fighting with your girlfriend or whatever, and then she's like, it's fine. Is it ever though? Maybe you're with each other and you're like, I don't know. Transparency is so key. You need to make sure to tell your community what's going on. And I would say over communication is actually better than not communicating enough. I see some heads nodding. You really should have told them about that. I think it's so important. Have your Discord, have your Telegram, your Twitter, be over communicative. Ever since we've actually been communicating more, almost to the point where like this week we've done this and we're gonna launch a feature in the app that does this. We really love you guys to tell us your opinions. Even the minute stuff like that has made a significant impact on our community. They just seem to respect us more, they seem to like the project more. So I would definitely suggest if you take anything away after this, just communicate with your audience a lot more. You can build fans. Has anyone heard the term of like you have to find 1,000 loyal fans? And it's something that I didn't really know of until probably like maybe this year. You know, like scrolling on Reels, 5 hours later, I'm still on the toilet. But you sometimes get some really cool Reels that will come out. And this was one of them. And I think it's so true. Once you have your 1,000 followers that are really true fans and they really believe in your project, they really believe in what you're doing, they'll actually impact the rest of the audience a lot easier. So that means that if you have 1,000 people in your Discord that are active, talking to each other, to be honest, it doesn't even have to be 1,000. It could be 10. It could be 10 people that are active in the Discord, and that will lead you to 1,000. Much bigger than if you try to have 10,000 people in your Discord and like 2 people barely say a word. So if anything, just build your fans. Build those true loyal fans that really care. They see what's pushing your project, and they'll tell their uncle like Jeff and like Sally in the Discord channel that's like, I know what's funny. I'm like, shut up, Sally. This is what we're doing. This is the project. This is what we're doing. They'll help you find fun. My favorite word, utility. This is so important, obviously, for tokens, for NFTs, for anything you try to sell to the public. Just make sure it's not a rubbish piece of crap that does nothing. If some people buy art and stuff, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the NFTs that you say will do stuff. Just make sure they actually do stuff. Okay, now I get to the difficult part. Anyone feel like this sometimes? Well, this was definitely us this year, when the market conditions just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Our sales emails were like getting they were not getting replies, you know, and we all get there. We all sometimes have this, and we're like, this is fine, but it's a perfect opportunity to really make some changes when you feel like this. It's really important that you repair issues there, not there. For us, as I mentioned, with the token not doing great, we go like, Tim, we're there. That's okay. Everybody we were like back there, and then we're like, shit, we gotta fix some stuff. So for us, you know, the token price is like, you know, and NFTs is floor price, like, and again, it comes back to the resources allocation. We realized that we were doing way too many things. And the success sometimes does that. So I came back from Europe recently, and we went there on a trip because we got accepted into a pitch competition in Britain, in the UK, and I pitched like when I did some twerking. And we ended up winning the competition. It was awesome. We got a nice little trophy. But as much as that was a good thing, we ended up just getting sort of like leads into the business for like products that we didn't really offer. And this goes back to shiny objects. It's like, yeah, that's awesome, you can do that. But like, how? We've got 4 people's capacity that we could put towards something. Yeah, we can reallocate some things, but we gotta repair issues here, not there. If we were to take on those additional products, then we might make money in the short term. If we're gonna have a business that doesn't even know how it is, and that is just something that you just can't afford, especially when the markets are bad like now. When you have a business that's supposed to be doing something specific, solving a problem, you need to focus. Because if you don't, you'll end up going there, and then you'll have all your staff going in different directions and reaching nothing. I would rather reach a destination and say to the team, we did it, we accomplished something. Yeah, we might be a little slower at it, but then to be nowhere in 1 year because I've decided, oh yeah, what do I work with FIFA? Oh, this company wants us to do more NFTs. Oh, this. No. What is the problem that we're solving? We want to make people healthy. How do we make money? Premium subscriptions, corporate sales. The rest important. Not important. Can I get a yeehaw? Yeehaw! Sustainability. Very, very important. Please remember that. Or you can use my consulting services. Yeah, so these are some of all the different potentials, all the different products. We can work with athletes, we can do Web3, we can do Metaverse, we can do grants, we can do more athletes, we can do sports clubs. Oh my God. How? We got only 3 people. We got 3 people that are probably able to actively work on these things. It's not possible. It's not possible. So you have to call. You have to call them. You want to focus with limited resources. Guys, come on. You have to do that. Break it to you. Say no to stuff. Say no. Say no to that guy that's like freaking, texting you and shit. It's the same thing, guys. Same thing in business. Support the token as best you can, but don't focus on the token. Support, like, actually focus on the product. Focus on building something really high value, and focus on the high return activities. So for us, corporate sales, building a great product. This is probably like 80% of us. Especially you, Renee. It's a sad time, but now is the best time. Because when everyone is quiet and no one's talking about stuff, that's the best time to be in the space. Because these people will be around in 5 years building the most amazing projects. Whereas the people that are here in this room and like the ones at the top and they just walk around Lamborghini on Pepe, they're not going to stick around. So yeah, just good job everyone. Clap that. Anything from this presentation? Focus you must. Utility. Have to make some noise.
Some interaction here. Anyone in particular? Come on, man. All right. There you go.
Okay, I just have a question. The first question is, how corporates benefit of your project? And the second question, what is your exit from?
Nice.
Thank you.
I'll answer the second one first. It's more fun. When I was at uni, I was so many free drinks. It was such a great cheat. Where do you think I'm from? Spain. Spain. Oh, I'm Spanish. I'm not quite Spanish. Anyone else have any guesses? You know the answer. I'm actually from Argentina. I'm from Belgium. Like some random little chocolate state in like freaking Europe. I came here on a boat of chocolate. Yeah, I went to American school for a long time, so I learned the American English. Did someone speak in the French accent in Quebec? Did you guys prefer if I did it in the French accent? But to answer your first question, essentially, big corporations like Deloitte, Louis Vuitton Group, and all these big ones, they're usually legally obligated to do something to keep their staff from essentially jumping off bridges. And But they want to take care of their employees. So we sell employee wellness. What happens is the app, even though there's a user app, you can have the version of the app which is completely white rules. So it'll have Deloitte branding. It will only have their employees in it. So then we actually sell them on a monthly package to use the app for that reason. And then they'll have private leaderboards, private challenges. So that's how we make our money. So we sell to companies like Deloitte to integrate with technology. These on other hands.
So you said they have their own branding and everything. So they are on site and the number that you have in mind. So the amount of, let's say, group or whatever, they have their clients, right? You create an app just for them that is linked to PUML.
It's for their company. So Deloitte will use it for all their employees in, like, let's just say Southeast Asia. So there might be 10,000 employees all synced up and stuff. So the problem essentially for a lot of companies is that they have offices all over the world, and because of now work from home being everywhere, because of work from home sort of like really coming in since COVID, it's really hard to engage the employees and make sure that they're sort of happy, working and they're mentally healthy and such. So that's where the app is really good because you can use it from anywhere, people can earn tokens, and we customize the marketplace. So if you get PUML tokens, you can have like 5 days off, or you might have a lunch with the Deloitte CEO or whatever. You can customize it to whatever you want. And then that's where we've gotten the most amount of really great feedback. It's like, it's not so much about the app, it's about bringing everyone together even though they're in so many different countries. So Shandong, for example, they use us all across Asia. Deloitte uses us all across Asia. So that's how we do it.
Thank you. That was a great speech. If you time again, would you just speak to the PUML token, just avoid the PUML next day that we get it?
Right? Oh shit. Well, if I had my time again, I would not really launch that token now, or like back then. God damn, that token has been just such a nightmare. It was all well intentioned, like we had pretty intentions, we wanted to build utility, we wanted to do all this great stuff. But the problem is when it's not going up and to the right, people just really shit on it and like started like screaming. And it's in the F word, because it was. Anyways, this is how scattered my brain is. So to answer your question, I think we still would launch the token, but we would have just waited for the right timing and waited. I think we did it out of sort of probably desperation a little bit because we did a big raise, we needed the runway and all that stuff. So sometimes you can control it, but I would say that token has definitely changed the business, and that's why we've really sort of tried to reallocate resources now just to more like high ROI activities. shift because you're not paying attention to the parts of the business that actually make money or support the staff, and support you being there. I think it comes down to the problem being solved. Complex will be better, but it still is not where we need to be. And that's the honest answer. But it will get better. And it's about teaching the community that to believe in vision and to see that. It's hard though, Tesla doesn't go really listen to people in this or all their professors but it is so different for that reason. And I think we need to cut out the noise. So I would still launch a token. I just wish that we had done it in 6 months from now rather than a year ago. Thanks, that's great.
I'm asking a question because it's a little bit confidential as you ran before with corporate sales. I'm not asking because I'm a little surprised. I know particularly three companies for niche, Svet Coin, Stepan, and Working Protocol. Most of they started the same kind of business model we talked about, but they can change it. And that's not also ready for based on corporate sales and principles.
So essentially you're asking them like a revenue model because Stepan and stuff have to change things. Yes, Sweat, yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And so for anyone that hasn't heard, essentially he's asking how we sort of support the business when it's checkpoints, Stepan and such. They also have those different models that aren't really supported very well, so then they have to change the business and such. And this is where the 2.5 comes in. So behind the scenes we have this. So we sell a pro version, a premium version of the app for I think it's like $60 a year or something like that. And even though we never really advertise for that, that's actually supporting a lot of the community rewards that they're going out, which is pretty good. And we're constantly improving on making this app like the best thing it can possibly be, so that when people do upgrade, literally all the rewards almost get paid out of the subscription. And then the corporates, the way that our model is more sustainable is the corporate, let's just say they pay us $10 grand a year. So let's just for simplicity's sake, use pretty simple numbers. Then a part of that will obviously go to a pocket, to your staff and blah blah blah. And then a small part of that will actually go into what we call community group. And we have some fancy algorithms where when you press on Clear Steps, it will never allow the whole community claiming to get more than what is allowed in that community group. Does that make sense? So that means that no matter what, we're not losing money from the steps being claimed and people are getting from the app.
All the companies I mentioned, they have problems with retention because the signing tokens companies.
Yeah, because
It's
they get
quite
bored.
boring.
Yeah, exactly. They get bored.
boring.
Yeah, exactly. The problem with Stepan, first of all, was the NFT model. Like people just got priced out of the market, and then there was also the problem of people getting bored. Like they do it at first, they were like, oh, this is a great little currency, and then that's it. Like they don't want to play it anymore. And they were working on retention. I think apps always try to do that. But since introducing things like the daily activities, we're also introducing a journaling aspect to it. We're adding hydration tracking. So what we're kind of doing what like Calm is doing and all these other apps are doing and combining it into one thing, which usually focuses on what you're doing on a daily basis. So you meditate daily, upgrade your water daily, you want to track your steps daily, your runs daily. So then that way we're actually seeing way better retention because people are coming back to the app and actually using it for something in their day-to-day. So that's been huge. So these channel results don't matter. It's actually what happens inside the profile, and people log in like, well, I was sad today, I was happy today, and then that data over time will hopefully lower insurance premiums. That's our long-term plan. But yeah, that's what we're still working on. Like I said, lots of learnings, lots of problems. And now we're focusing on making them happen. That's where the things and stuff are right. We're focusing on just the whole ecosystem. Great question. I want to chat after lunch. I don't have to go.
I'm satisfied.
Hey. So, no, I appreciate your transparency today, because that's not easy for me to do. So you're not asking about what you've done and what you did for this goal, so I appreciate it. My question is all the hard lessons, right? The first lesson was community good, right? And community fun, all of the other things. So when you go through this and you take all these lessons, because failure is not failure as long as you use it and apply it to move forward, right? So my question is, as you move through, see all these things, learn all these things, when you get to applying, has your community responded as a whole, and do you now sort of, instead of just taking opinion, do you have people within the community that you're looking to bring in, build up, and apply as not only developers, but essential pieces to the project? That's my question.
I love it. Community, it's definitely getting better. It's getting better. I'm not gonna lie and say, yeah, we have all these people that are doing amazing things and they totally want to come on board. It's really hard. The community has, it's like the noise was 100% 6 months ago, the noise is like 10. I don't know if you feel that way too. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but it's really gone a lot higher. But we really see who has like stuck around now. Like whenever I go to the Telegram, it feels like I've known these people forever. Because I'm chatting to like the same like 4 dudes and we're like exchanging gifts. And they know like that I've got a crush on my Daniel Ricardo and like all this crap, right? And like that's what feels good. Because those guys give me power. They're not community moderators yet. Working on that, but that's the next step. It's like empowering the community to actually help with a lot more than just it's features bugged, you know. Like it's a lot more than that. But it's a work in progress. We're not there yet, but we want to.
Because that's the way I see longevity, right? Like
Yeah, longevity comes from community.
comes from
It comes from within as well. Yeah, it's so hard. Community is very, very hard. But it gets better the more transparent you are. And the more you empower them to actually speak their mind. Actually, something I didn't mention, maybe something to consider for everyone else, is having a bug competition. Holy crap, man, we get so many, like, I mean, obviously it's not great that we get lots of incidents, but people love that program. Like, it actually really, really gets them going. Like, you say, oh, give me like 10 PUML coins or like 100 PUML X, which is only worth like a couple of cents. If you watch these bugs and you verify them, people love that program. They love it. So find something that your community can do, which also benefits you, even though you might think lots of things look bad, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's like a treasure hunt. Little treasure hunts, your community will love it. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you understand.
We got a question.
Yes.
You don't have to look.
Thank you. I'll make this the last question. So, you've talked about what you've done and some of your regrets. What do you see in the next 3 years for you, Deborah? And to a lesser extent, PUML, but blockchain technology, crypto, Web 3.0.
Yeah. Get me excited. Let me get my crystal ball. I'm super. Anyone Metaverse fans here? Okay, that's it. I won't talk shit about it then. Anyone used an Oculus before? Do you like it?
No.
Yeah. Great. Let's talk shit about them. I really, honestly, I really like where coronavirus and stuff is going with the gaming side of things. I'm a gamer. Like I used to love PlayStation and shit. I love it. But the Oculus is like unfreaking useful. I feel like I'm gonna get brain cancer after like 5 seconds. And same with AirPods. I don't know about you guys, but I really love that. But like, it's the same with the Oculus. Like I'll put it on and I'll be like boxing and doing all this stuff. And it's literally where like gaming was for the PlayStation 1 versus the PlayStation 4. Totally get it. I love that space. So I'm really excited about games and like having more virtual experiences. I think that's awesome. Virtual fashion, I think, is just going to be a sinking thing for a lot of people. So I'm not super excited about that. I like the stuff that is entertaining. I'm if you don't know already, I make films when I'm bored. So I made an AI film just over the weekend. You can watch it on YouTube. It's not that good, but get in there. But that is super exciting. I love where like decentralized film, decentralized music, anything that puts more money in like the creators' pockets. I really love that. I think those are awesome. Where like charitable stuff, I know a guy that's working blockchain tech to like track where donations are going. I think that's awesome. Decentralized health, I can't say I'm like, woo, but I think it's such a great use case. But yeah, I love it. I love innovation, I love it. And I guess so far back up. If you ever are working on anything and you think it's innovative, come and chat to me because I'll probably make you some money. But let's go. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes, your transparency has been just so valuable. Thank you so much. You really what we can do, folks, is Nathan's going to pop a QR code up here on the screen. Blockstars technology. Here we are. We're inviting you to the Brisbane Web3 cruise. If you want to grab a ticket here, I'm not sure how much it is, but it's going to be sensational. So joining Australian businesses and enthusiasts of blockchain, Web3 and NFTs with great motivated speakers, food, drinks and prizes. It's a 3.5-hour cruise. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. That boat will be rocking with the heaviest heads in Brisbane, Gold Coast, South East Queensland in this space. So it's a really great one to be a part of. Guest speakers and sponsors, food, drinks, dance, floor, music, everything you want. So jump in, have a look, and it's going to be we'd love to see you there as well as we'll be there. But right now, Cosy, any final words? You're all good? Have a great night, everyone. The bar is still open, the food is still plentiful. Let's get chatting, let's get creative. Thanks for meeting us. Nice to see you.